Guilty Gear Strive, the game of how the fuck do I get out of this corner? Stop with the dolphins, please just stop. What do you mean soul's broken, bro? Just learn the matchup. I am a Guilty Gear noob. I was one of those people who heard of Arc System Works through Dragon Ball, and when I saw they were making a new fighting game, I had to see what was up. All I heard about Guilty Gear at that point was that it was a mostly underground fighting game, and that it's as hard as me when I see your mom. The hype around it seemed so big that I just had to come in and dip my toes in the ranch. So does it live up to the hype? Yeah, mostly. Keep in mind, these opinions are from someone who hasn't played other Guilty Gear games. Also, please forgive the ass cheeks gameplay. I am trying my best. It had been a while since I last sucked at a fighting game. Not for nothing, but I was pretty good at Dragon Ball and NRS games, so I had to brace myself, knowing my throat was going to be sore when I picked up Strive. I had to decide who I was going to play, but before I had even booted up the game, I immediately fell in love. Oh yeah, whisper Mega Fisto in my ear. Anyway, with this absolute tank of a character, I began to learn the systems of Strive. I was afraid it was going to be too difficult like I had seen online before, but apparently they made this one more beginner friendly. I honestly don't know to what extent, but from what I gather, the core of the gameplay is still intact, which is always what you want. In my beginner's eyes, this is still a very deep fighting experience. The whole name of the game is aggression. They should have just called it Guilty Gear Aggression. Up the ass. The game has a lot of systems in place to encourage you being in each other's faces. If you block for too long, you fill up this purple gauge that makes you take more damage. If you keep walking away without throwing out any punches, you'll start to lose meter. Getting a wall break on someone gains you meter. Hell, just like in Dragon Ball, moving forward will also net you a bit of meter. I love these mechanics, because fighting up close should always be the priority. Part of the reason why Injustice 2 didn't click with a lot of people was because full screen was a mile long, and some characters could just do this.
I am the master of this character. But you said before about the confidence, Tweedy, he doesn't care who he fights against. That's a mid-set pop-off. That was one game. He won game one and is jumping out of his chair like, come on, let's go. It kind of shows.
Just fight each other, dude. Come on! Projectiles in this game are mostly to add pressure and to run behind them to close in. It also helps that there are many moves in this game that just say, fuck yo projectile, man. Get this pussy shit on my face. Fuck zoning. All my homies hate zoning. One of the more notable beginner-friendly things they did was crank the damage to 100. Combos commonly result in a fourth, third, half, 3/4 of the life bar being deleted. Just look at this shit, man. This guy was locking me down the whole game. One combo and a super later, he is fucking toast. There is a small stipulation though. Most of the big damage combos are tied to hitting big buttons and counter hits. Things like jabs rarely lead to anything, and if they do, it isn't a lot of damage. If you want Phil Smith levels of hurt, you're gonna have to go for the slower slash or heavy slash buttons on characters and convert from there.
Now that's a lot of damage!
I don't know if you noticed in the gameplay, but Strive has a big emphasis on counter hits. These instances boost the potential for even bigger damage. They slow down the screen to let you know, hey, you got a big hit. Beat this guy like he's a piñata now. All in all, I like the way it forces you to play belligerent. Along with the solid netcode, it makes Strive a great time. Thank you for this shit. It's beautiful. Another unique mechanic to me is the Roman cancel or RC. These let you do all sorts of wacky doodle things. They're basically deal powers. There's one that pushes away the opponent while you block, another that slows the opponent's move, another that cancels the end leg of your moves, and one that provides a knockup for combo extensions. It's a cool mechanic that lets unsafe moves be safe, creates usually inaccessible mix-ups, and makes hard to punish moves easier to deal with. Because they're so powerful, RCs are tied to the same meter as super moves. It really makes you think about where you want to spend your resources. So, with a fighting system as good as it is, it's a relief to know that the characters doing the fighting are also sick as hell. I already told you about my boy Pot, but I also love playing Naguriyuki. He's an African samurai vampire. I don't know, I guess it was inclusivity week at Arxis. He's genuinely the most fun I've had with a sword character in a while. He's so swaggy, they had to nerf my man by limiting the amount of special moves he can make, or else he goes sicko mode and loses half his HP. All the other guys are pretty cool too. There's only 15 characters, but they're all so quirky and unique, you would have thought this was a Tumblr convention. I'm honestly okay with the low number, since they really are all different. In Dragon Ball, most characters had a similar combo path, so that they were easier to learn. In Strive, each character is playing a completely different game to get their damage in. And they're all pretty well balanced too, unless you're playing Faust, who apparently isn't even in the game.
First of all, Faust is not in this game. So because you said Faust, you getting timed out. Don't ever disrespect Faust. Ever in your life. This is loused. My man is loused, bro. He needs to be found. This is like lost and found here, right? You could maybe save them if you find them, but chances are it might be a wrap.
Everything so far, it sounds like it's a solid fighting game. And it is. Let's just say that everything encasing it is a little For one, loading up the game has you connect to the server, which for some reason takes ages. You'll be waiting minutes just to get into the game. It's really confusing as to why it's even like that, given that it is current year, and I can't think of any other game that takes this fucking long just to connect to the internet. Dragon Ball never had that issue. Then, there's the lobby system, which is the way you're supposed to find games. Arxis just loves to be unlike all the other girls because they had a lobby system in Dragon Ball 2. People already didn't like it there, and can you believe it's even worse here? You control this little avatar and walk around an area. Then, you have to go up to one of these battle stations and wait for someone to come battle you. This sucks ass. Sometimes I'm walking around trying to find someone to fight, and I can't find anybody because I'm person 29 out of 32 and everyone else is already in a game. So, I have to back out and enter another one, hoping to find someone who is also waiting for a match. It's like they didn't think this through. There can only be so many people in an area, but there's a bajillion battle stations. The room could have been made so much smaller to make it easier to find people. I don't care if my avatar is cute and I have a Jotaro hat. I'm supposed to be fighting other people, not the matchmaking system. Maybe someday Arxis will learn the word menus. Until then, we have to deal with this thing to find our games. There's also no frame data on launch, which is ultra confusing because Dragon Ball had it. You have to go online and do the research yourself. This is super annoying. Frame data makes learning a character so much easier. It lets you know what's safe and what's unsafe instantly. Here's hoping they add it in a future update. Who knows, they might just pull a Tekken 7 and have us pay for it. Wouldn't that be grand? There also aren't any unique cutscenes anymore in the arcade mode. It's just characters exchanging a few lines before the first and last fights. Things like, hey, I like your shoes, and isn't the weather nice today? On top of that, there are also no combo challenges like there were before. To me, this isn't a big deal, but it shows Arxis was lacking and that maybe they were lazier this time around. Another thing that just isn't a big deal to me is the story mode. It's a 4-hour long cutscene that continues the story of the series as a whole. I don't really mind that there aren't any fights in between, since story mode in other fighting games always felt like random CPU fights anyway. This is mostly for veterans who already know everything. People like me have to turn to the Bible of Guilty Gear to learn everything that has already happened before Strive. It's honestly really impressive. You could probably look in there and find out about that one time Naguriyuki sneezed on Mace Dolphin, and that's why they hate each other. I don't know. So while the effort is nice, it's just a part of the game I won't ever really touch. There's plenty of other things you could nitpick too. The vocals and the music, the bland UI with the big ass combo counter, the random breakable corner, but that's exactly what they are, just nitpicks. Strive does so many more things right than wrong. I haven't even mentioned how good this game looks. Just look at these visuals, man, they're so crispy. And the animation, oh my god. The game is just fun, dude. I don't get why people would ever spend money on drugs when they can play Potemkin and do shit like this. Plus, the game has a system which protects you from people that are far better than you, so you don't feel like you're getting bodied all the time. It's nice to know you can hop on and not feel like it's a sweat fest. So, at the end of the day, is Strive worth 60 bones? I think it is. Kinda. It's really hard to say. If you're a casual looking to try Strive, I would definitely wait for a sale. There's a good amount of homework to do before you can start having fun, and some people might not be up for that. If you're like me, who has played fighting games but is new to gear, it also depends if it's worth it. The only thing here for me is online fights. I've already put in enough hours to get my money's worth, but I still wish there was more to do. I can confidently say though that the game by itself is an 8 out of 10. It looks great, the new rollback netcode is great, and it's just a fun time. If it didn't have these dumb issues that I think shouldn't even be issues, it would easily be a 9. Ultimately, your enjoyment is going to rely on familiarity with fighting games and the franchise itself. If you plan on taking the time to get good and learn the backstory of these characters, I'd say it's worth a cop. Come on in and smell the game. It smells like blazing bullshit, apparently.
That is bullshit blazing to my heart.